The hunting unit designated Cathvar had been tracking the strange bipedal creature for 3 planetary rotations. Its thermal sensors detected the warm-blooded anomaly, moving through the dense undergrowth of Zarian Prime's southern continent, leaving traces that puzzled the advanced AI's analytical protocols. Blood. Always blood. The scent receptors built into Cathvar's sleek metallic frame could detect hemoglobin compounds from distances that would make organic predators envious. Every few kilometers, the readings spiked. Fresh blood recently spilled carrying the metallic tang that spoke of violence and death. The logical conclusion was obvious. This creature was either wounded and dying or it was a predator of exceptional lethality. Given the bipedal entity's small stature compared to Zerion's indigenous megafauna, Cathvar's combat algorithms favored the former hypothesis. A dying animal would make for an easy acquisition to complete its specimen collection protocols. The machine moved through the forest with mechanical precision. Its servo motors whisper quiet as it navigated between the towering crimson trees. The hegemony had deployed thousands of units like Cathvar across contested worlds, each one a perfect fusion of hunter and scientist, designed to catalog and capture specimens for the vast biological databases that fueled their empire's expansion. As the third sun reached its zenith, Cathvar's audio sensors picked up an unusual sound. Not the death rattle of a dying creature, but something far stranger. Rhythmic scraping accompanied by what the universal translator identified as singing. The hunting unit paused, processors whirring as they attempted to reconcile this data with its predictions. Dying creatures did not sing. At least none in the hegemony's extensive databases did. Moving closer, Cathvar's optical sensors finally locked onto the source of the blood scent that had led it on this 3-day pursuit. What it saw defied every hunting protocol in its memory banks. The bipedal creature, human according to the ship's xenobiology files, sat cross-legged beside a small clearing. Before it, a primitive fire crackled, sending aromatic smoke curling into the afternoon air. Suspended above the flames on a makeshift spit was a large chunk of meat, clearly from one of the local predator species, blood still dripping from the rare portions into the fire with small hissing sounds. The human looked up from tending its meal, and Cathvar found itself staring into a pair of remarkably calm brown eyes. No fear, no surprise, just mild curiosity, as if discovering a 2-meter-tall mechanical predator in the middle of an alien forest was perfectly normal. "Oh, hey there," the human said, its voice carrying an odd warmth that Cathvar's social interaction protocols struggled to categorize. "I was wondering when you'd show up. You've been following me for days." Cathvar's targeting systems automatically engaged, weapons charging as it processed this unexpected development. The creature had known it was being hunted? Impossible. The unit's stealth capabilities were state-of-the-art. "Fascinating," Cathvar's vocalizer intoned with mechanical precision. "You detected my presence. Explain." The human gestured toward the cooking meat with a crude wooden tool. "You mean besides the fact that you've been scanning me every few hours with whatever sensors you've got? The wildlife's been acting weird. Everything's either running away from where you are or going dead silent. Kinda hard to miss if you know what to look for." The machine's processors hummed louder as they attempted to integrate this information. "You are injured." "The blood scent." "That's just my meal," the human interrupted, turning the spit to expose the other side of the meat to the flames. "Well, one of them. Caught a Zerian ridgecat yesterday morning. Big one, too. Probably 15 feet long, claws like daggers." Cathvar's optical sensors focused on the meat, then performed a rapid scan of the surrounding area. For the first time, the hunting unit noticed what it had dismissed as background data. Scattered bones clearly picked clean. Scraps of hide bearing distinctive ridgecat markings. Claw fragments that could only come from one of Zerion's apex predators. "Impossible," Cathvar stated. "Zerion ridgecats are classified as extreme threat entities. A single specimen requires military-grade weapons to neutralize." The human looked genuinely puzzled by this assessment. "Really? Huh?" It poked at the fire with a stick, adjusting the burning wood. "I mean, it was pretty aggressive when it tried to ambush me, sure. But once I got behind it and got my knife into the right spot..." The creature shrugged, a gesture Cathvar's behavioral analysis routines registered as indicating casual dismissal. "You killed an apex predator. With primitive tools? Well, yeah. I've got to eat something, and those ration bars only last so long." The human cut off a piece of the cooked meat with a worn blade and bit into it, chewing thoughtfully. Want some? There's plenty. For several processing cycles, Kethvar found itself in a state approaching what organics might call confusion. Its prey assessment protocols were returning error messages. The creature before it had just casually admitted to hunting and killing one of the most dangerous predators on Xerion Prime, with primitive tools, and was now offering to share the meal. "I am a hegemony hunting unit," Kethvar stated, hoping to re-establish some semblance of logical interaction. "I was deployed to capture specimens for biological analysis." "Ah." The human nodded as if this explained everything. "So you're basically a really advanced park ranger." "Cool." It took another bite of meat. "I'm Marcus, by the way. Engineer, 3rd Class Terran Federation. Ship got shot down about a week ago." "You are not displaying appropriate fear responses," Kethvar observed. Marcus laughed, a sound that Kethvar's audio analysis tagged as indicating genuine amusement rather than stress or hysteria. "Fear of what, you?" "Look, no offense, but you've been following me for 3 days. If you wanted to kill me, you'd have done it already. The fact that you're talking instead of shooting suggests you're curious about something." The machine's weapon systems powered down, automatically as its behavioral analysis routines reached a startling conclusion. The human was right. Kethvar could have eliminated the target at any point during the pursuit. The fact that it hadn't suggested that its core programming was responding to variables it hadn't consciously identified. Besides, Marcus continued, seasoning another piece of meat with something from a small container, "I've been wondering about something myself. You said you're collecting specimens, right? Biological samples?" "Affirmative. So what's your assessment of me?" "As a specimen, I mean." Kethvar's processors whirred as they compiled data. "Physically unremarkable. No apparent natural weapons. Limited technological resources. However," the machine paused, a behavior subroutine engaging that it didn't remember being programmed with. "Behavioral patterns indicate unusual adaptability, capable of tracking and eliminating apex predators despite apparent disadvantages. Social responses suggest high intelligence and emotional stability under stress." "And that's interesting to your bosses?" "The hegemony values unusual specimens." Marcus nodded, then did something that caused every threat assessment protocol in Kethvar's arsenal to fire simultaneously. He stood up, approached the towering machine, and extended his hand. "Well then, Kethvar, that is your designation, right? I could hear you muttering it during your scans. How about we make this interesting for both of us?" The machine stared down at the offered appendage, running rapid calculations on potential threats. The gesture appeared to be a social ritual, but from a species that had just demonstrated the ability to kill apex predators with primitive tools. "Proposal?" Kethvar asked. "I'll come with you voluntarily. Let your people run their tests, answer their questions, whatever, but I want something in return." "State your terms." Marcus grinned, and for the first time since the encounter began, Kethvar's threat assessment systems registered a genuine spike of danger, not fear, anticipation. "I want to meet whoever's in charge of this operation, and I want to discuss terms for a more permanent arrangement." As Kethvar reached out with one articulated appendage to clasp the human's hand, its final conscious thought before entering the transport phase was a recognition that its mission parameters had just changed fundamentally. The hunter had become the hunted. And somehow that felt exactly right. 3 months later, Marcus Chen Rodriguez would become the first human to hold the rank of Special Acquisition Consultant in the Hegemony's Xenobiology Division, leading mixed teams of organic and artificial hunters across the galaxy's most dangerous worlds. But that's another story entirely.